I'm glad that Joel liked my sausage more than Ben's.
Well, Ben, Nick, I'm so excited to chat with you today. I watched the episode for Celebrity Beef and it was hysterical. I was literally laughing out loud. So what made you want to go on this show and settle your beef?
It's one of the cool things. I don't know if this helps or hurts the show, but Nick politely asked me to join him. Oh. And so, we're friends with a rivalry that is healthy. That makes sense.
It does make sense.
So push us to be better. So he asked if I would join him on the show, and it was a good fit. And, it sounded funny. I really had no clue what I was getting to. Here's a backstory that I want to make sure to get into. I got a hole-in-one the day before, and I was up till 3 a.m. with Wells Adams the night before it. And so there was a moment where I was like, I'm not going to make the show.
They didn't call me to hang out.
Nick doesn't like the golf. He doesn't like the golf.
Nick, were you surprised that Ben stole the pasta?
I kind of was, yeah. But I feel like, yes and no. Like, I know Ben, and I know that, he likes to be like a really sweet person and everyone thinks he's all sweet Ben. I know he's got a dark, vindictive side. So part of me was like proud of him, at the same time, but also it really messed with my mojo. I was really hoping to make a really nice pasta dish, but hit my knees, yeah.
Despite not having the pasta dish, you did come out victorious. So, what did you do with your trophy?
Oh yeah, it's right here. I got it right here. I believe, all right, this is the bus. Is it the bus?
Yes, it's the bus.
Yeah, it's on my shelf.
As it should be, proudly displayed. You guys went on the show to settle the beef about who was the better bachelor. So Ben, in your opinion, who was the better bachelor?
The winner of the show.
We both know Ben doesn't believe that.
I feel like the show was the final vote. I don't know. That's you can't really quantify how good a bachelor is. Mm-hmm. You can do that and maybe you could try in a couple of different ways. A lot of things Nick and I are equal to. How many people watched? How many people follow? What does life look like afterwards? Mm-hmm. And so this was kind of that unbiased last stand, and I lost it.
Nick, do you feel like the right man won?
Well, I didn't taste Ben's dish, but we all know that Ben is the greatest bachelor of all time. Let's not pretend that's not the case. But I'm glad that Joel liked my sausage more than Ben's. I'll say that much.
I don't even know if Nick and I should be in this conversation because neither of us ended up with we're both very happy in our relationships now. Neither of those things are dependent on the show. I would think that the best bachelor should be somebody that's still at least with the person they chose. But Nick and I both didn't do well at that. And so I don't even know if
it would only be Sean Lowe then.
Yeah, and never mind.
Well, obviously I have to get your take on the Bachelorette, of this season, 2 Bachelorettes for the first time. Do you feel like this format is working for the two of you? Do you like this? And do you think that this should be something that we do going forward?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. Listen, I think it's been fun to see something different. Because obviously we're talking about a show that's been around for a very long time, and part of their success has been kind of staying on format, and so it's nice to see something different. That said, I think the first couple episodes it seemed like no one knew what was going on. Not the bachelorettes, not the men, and certainly not the audience. And so it felt like we were just kind of waiting for a couple episodes for something to happen. And then when it did happen, unfortunately, it seems like the vast majority of the drama that we are receiving is coming from both Rachel and Gabby to no fault of it's like that it's being forced upon them, right? Because we were all told, they're not going to be pitted against each other, but and I don't know if it's necessarily happening by design, but I think this format lends to that happening, because you have a show where, regardless if it's the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, you have a lead, right? And that lead is, they're the lead, right? They're told that, people are going to come in and want to, date them, and they get to decide who they're falling in love with. And then when that doesn't happen and someone is switching sides, it can really mess with their psyche. And I think it's obviously becoming a different show. I hope for Rachel and Gabby that we see them both not let this rejection get in their head, and focus on what seems to be some really nice connections that there seem to be starting to develop, whether it's Rachel and Tino or Gabby and Jason. But I hope that they no longer let it get to them. But rejection can be tough. But yeah, I think unfortunately it's not going the way I think a lot of fans hoped as it relates to the women being pitted against one another.
Yeah. Ben, I mean, if you were in this situation with another lead, do you think that you would mentally be able to handle this constant rejection? Because like you said, Nick, it seems like this is really going to get to them eventually, as it would, I think, anybody.
No, I don't. I mean, I think one of the good things about being the Bachelor or being the Bachelorette is you kind of create the environment that is best for you, or that you feel like is going to be healthiest for you and the group involved. And I think it'd be hard. I mean, there is just a competition. I don't care if it was my best friend. I mean, this was all cool with me until really last week when they had their first one-on-ones, and then both of them walked into a restaurant and they kind of split up, and it was like, this is just awkward. It just feels uncomfortable. It feels like something I don't want to do. It's already weird enough the way it is. When we interviewed Gabby and Rachel, they and I mean I have to give them credit, because they were telling us that they talked about who they kissed and how the kiss was and who they're into and who they're not into. That's not me. I don't know. Maybe I'm very jealous. Maybe I'm envious. You could say all the things to associate it, and that they would probably be true, but it would just be uncomfortable all the time. And I would feel like at some point, my confidence that is necessary when you're trying to figure this whole thing out would break. And then I think if it wasn't Gabby and Rachel, I think they would have a really hard problem on their hands. I don't know if they will, because I think the two of them are doing it really well, as the best they can. But if it was me sharing this stage with Nick, I feel like I'd be competing against Nick more than I would be trying to figure out if this was going to work or not, which feels really hard.
Nick, do you think that this is going to go down as a fail in the Bachelor Nation or in the Bachelor history books?
I don't know. I don't know if we'd call it a fail. I mean, I think both Gabby and Rachel have said that they've successfully found love. And if that sticks, at least till after the final rose, I think, listen, at the end of this show is all about love. We're still very early in the season. And so maybe things will start turning around. I just think early results, and also early in every season, you kind of have some unnecessary drama. So maybe things will kind of even out, and there's just a lot left to watch. But I think it's too early to say how this season will be remembered. But that said, I think it would be cool to have a season with two Bachelors, just even it out, so to speak, right? We've seen a few times the Bachelor have two Bachelorettes, and whether directly or indirectly pit them against one another. And I think it's only fair or right to see that dynamic with a couple of men and see how they handle that challenge.
I agree. Nick, you said in your New York Times piece that you did pitch yourself to replace Chris Harrison. How far did you get along in that process? And what are your thoughts on Jesse Palmer? Do you think he's doing a good job?
I think Jesse's doing an excellent job. I really have enjoyed getting to know Jesse. He's really charming, and I just really have enjoyed him as the host. Yeah, I'm going to kind of keep the details more private, but it was, I'm thankful for the relationships I have with ABC and Warner Brothers. And, you know, at the end of the day, I just wanted to sit down with them and just have a conversation about the opportunity. I was pretty realistic about, you know, how I thought that would play out. But I just thought it was important to have that conversation. I'm just kind of someone who likes to throw my hat in the ring for things that I believe in myself. But that all said, I think Jess is definitely the right person for the job, and I think he's been doing an excellent job.
Definitely. Ben, did you throw your hat in the ring as well?
Probably my own household. Like I told my wife, like it'd be cool if they called. You know, I missed those opportunities. I've been really focused. I've been very outspoken that I want to be the host of the Senior Bachelor show. I think that's my sweet spot. I don't know how I do as the host, and I agree with Nick. I think Jesse's doing a great job. But no, not like formally.
Right. Ben, how's married life treating you?
Really good. Yeah. I mean, I joke, we were on like an Instagram live once and we were talking and we were at 6 months at that point. We're over 6 months now. And I was joking. I was like, yeah, halfway there. And the reason I say that is because most couples, like there's a large percentage of couples that get separated within the first year. And once you get past the first year, then it's like year 5, and then year 7 are the like, you know, the data marks for when couples separate. And yeah. So if you make it a year together, which you're doing just fine, then it's good. And we're having a lot of fun. I mean, it's been really, I don't want to say easy because we've had a lot of struggles. Most of our struggles, and maybe Nick can relate with this, but his dog's perfect. And my dog's just getting close to being perfect. He's like just there. Was like over a puppy, like waking up at 3 a.m, puppy biting us, like she comes home from work and she's exhausted. She's an esthetician. She speaks to 10 people a day, all day. And that's when our roughest times have come. But overall, we really enjoy each other, and I enjoy learning from her. She's a lot nicer of a person than I am. And so in my most critical moments, she is there to be like, yeah, but have you seen it this way? And I go, no, I didn't. But I'll start. And so she makes me a better human, and I appreciate her for this. And we have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Puppies like having kids. Waking you up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It must be. I hope it's easier.
Yeah.
Or harder than having kids, because
I actually have heard that it is. So Nick, is Ben's happy marriage relationship, is that rubbing off on you at all?
In what way?
Are you itching to walk down the aisle?
Itching. I mean, I'm very grateful for the relationship I have with Natalie, and really excited just kind of the direction it's going and the pace in which it's going. And I think we often talk about, you know, our future together and our relationship. And, you know, I'm not trying to, I don't think either of us are trying to get ahead of ourselves, but we're definitely grateful for the direction it's going. And, you know, stay tuned, I guess.
Have your significant others watched your seasons of The Bachelor?
Natalie has never watched any of mine.
No.
No, I think I told Nick this. Like, I bet Jess has asked me about the show less than 5 times in our 4 years together. Like, never watched. She did, though. I will share this. She did come home from college. Her mom's a fan of the show, and she watched one episode during my season when she was in college. And her mom claims that Jessica walked in the room and been like, I could date that guy. And her mom said that was shocking because Jessica never spoke like that, like never spoke openly about like who she was into or what she was into. And so when I messaged Jessica on Instagram, her mom was like, whoa, like it's a weird like circle moment, and like was like, yeah, you should message him back, see what happens. And then we're married.
The rest is history. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope everybody checks out Celebrity Beef because it was hysterical.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.